North Country Honor Flight this year is getting ready to send off 8 more planes filled with veterans from the airport here in Plattsburgh to Washington. Northern New York Assemblyman Billy Jones presented them with a check for $100,000 this past fall, the single largest donation the nonprofit has ever received, to help pay for the flights that bring veterans to the nation's capital to visit the war memorials built in their honor. In all, Jones has donated $150,000, which will cover the cost of 3 of the honor flights this year. Barry Finnegan is the Executive Director of the North Country Honor Flight. Welcome back. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate you having me back here.
You're gearing up for another year of honor flights to fly veterans to Washington, D.C. for their special day to visit the national memorials and monuments in their honor. In the 12th year now?
We're in our 13th,
13th year. So this is the 13th year.
13th year, yeah. We started in 2013.
So how many flights will you fly this year?
We've got 8 flights planned, 4 flight days. So we send 2 planes on each day. We've still got a waiting list that we're trying to get through. And we hope to get as many veterans down there as quickly as possible.
And how many veterans are you hoping to fly down this year?
We're going to send 120. Yeah, it's 15 per flight. And on the 4 flight days, that's 120 veterans.
So altogether, this is flight 60 and 61?
60, 61, yeah, our May flight.
That's incredible. And you've sent more than 900 veterans. So that means this year will be a milestone.
It will be. To hit 1,000 is just unthinkable at one point, and to think that this organization has transformed year after year, just keeps getting better and better and more efficient, and the volunteers that make this thing go, which is a lot of people don't realize, this thing is an all volunteer organization, and they sink their heart and soul into this and make it work, and it all pays off. You know, when they're there at that bus at night at 9, whatever time it is in the evening, and they get off that bus after a long day, and to see the smiles and the gratitude and thanks that they have for this program, it's just makes it all worthwhile.
Did you ever think you would be able to do this for this many veterans?
No. When we first started, of course, it all started with the World War II veterans. Yeah. And I think at that point in time, we're looking at it like, okay, the Korean guys are the younger guys and the Vietnam guys are real young, but it kind of over time, it crept up on us. So when we were done with the World War II veterans, those Korean guys were 85, 90 years old themselves. So, hey, let's keep on rolling. And then we're just about done. They're still out there, but we're trying to get as many Korean veterans as we can, but we're almost to the end of them.
And you have one on the flight this coming weekend.
One on May, yep. So they're still out there, and we'd like to get them all down there, but the majority of everybody now is Vietnam. Yeah. And again, the age group crept up on us, and a lot of those guys aren't real young either. And the other thing we found is they're not a healthy bunch either. Yeah. Never realized the impact of Agent Orange on a lot of these people. One way or another, it's affected their health, and a lot of them need to get there quicker than we can send them.
And I know when this started, again, the focus was World War II veterans. You were trying to get them down to the new World War II memorial that had been built.
Right.
Many of them had never been there, had never seen it, and that was really much of the purpose of the trip. With the Vietnam veterans, is it harder to convince some of them to go down and to visit that wall?
Absolutely. We've had some absolutely, I'll never go, it'll never happen, to stop asking. And you know deep in your heart that it's the right thing. And it's hard, you know, for some of us. I'm not a veteran, and to put myself in those shoes is very difficult. But what they're carrying around, and the bad part is some of it's not what happened in Vietnam. Right. Some of it's what happened when they got home. That was just as traumatic as a lot of the stuff in the actual war. So to convince them that, you know, that sentiment of hatred for the Vietnam veterans is long gone is a difficult task. We've had a couple that they just swore up and down it had never happened, and then they talked to another veteran that actually did it, and we've never had one come back and say, boy, I really wish I wouldn't have gone. It's never happened. the whole thing is based on showing the gratitude for what these veterans did for their country. And boy, when you see the crowds of people right here at the Oval, we've got some of the greatest people that come out and support us, and we've had other hubs, other hubs come up here and they see what's going on here, and they all say the same thing. Your community engagement is off the charts. You know, to see that amount of motorcycles and police units in the morning escorting them from the mall down to the Oval.
200 motorcycles.
It's just incredible.
And that's at 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. That'll be happening on May 17th this year.
Yeah, if you want to see they call it Thunder in the Berg. That's where it's one big parade from the mall down to the Oval. And we say 6:15 is a good time to get there, because that's quite a sight to see that all roll in back to back. It's just amazing.
And then the ceremony at 7 o'clock and the send-off, then the parade over to the airport, and then they are put on 2 charter flights and off they go to see many of the memorials in Washington, D.C. For many of them is Arlington National Cemetery and the ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown some of the most moving part of the day?
I think at the end of the day, as far as the memorials go, that has the most impact. Anybody that hasn't seen it is just in total awe.
You get all of your funding from donations.
Absolutely.
Yes, we talked a few moments ago about Billy Jones is helping out with $150,000 altogether. That's going to send a few flights this year.
Yeah, it's very expensive. $38,000 for a flight to go out, and you know, $150,000 was a great boost to our budget.
Yeah.
But it's not the end all. We've got to keep going with all these fundraisers that are happening. With the help from Billy, we're good for this year, but not much past that.
The VFW chipped in with the $10,000 recently.
Yep. It's always the VFWs and American Legions have always helped out, and 1619 has been a great ally, and 1618 and Saranac have been fantastic. They're sponsoring another flight this fall.
Golf tournament happening this year. That's coming up in July.
Yeah, Harmony Golf Tournament's coming up on July 5th.
Yeah.
And this is the 3rd year they've done that. Bruce McCormick down there does a great job with it, and he makes all the phone calls and gets all the sponsorships and the whole sponsors, and as well as signing up the golfers. But it's always a full tournament, and we have a lot of great fun, and it's, of course, everybody realizes it's for a great cause. But last year they raised $36,000. So, you know, there's a flight off of our schedule that we don't have to worry about. So things like that make the difference and have a huge impact on our operations.
Both of your parents served in the military. You do this in memory of them and their service.
It was a combination of, you know, my mother had just passed away, and she would have loved to have been able to do this, and my father's the same way. He would have absolutely loved it. And also at the same time, my son was over in Afghanistan. So when you find yourself, you know, trying to find news on what's going on over in Afghanistan every morning and try to figure out if he's safe or not, and then, you know, just losing my mother and father, just the military was running through my veins pretty heavy. And when I saw the first honor flight, I said, I got to help that group. My parents will never go, but I can be sure that others' parents get the opportunity anyway.
You're always looking for new volunteers to help with the flights and the fundraising. They can go to your Facebook page or website to learn how they can be part of it.
Yeah, the best way is to go right to the website, and that'll give you a rundown on what we do.
And if they know of a veteran who they think would go on a trip, they should get in touch with you as well.
That's where our most of our veterans fly, because of personal contacts that people have recommended them, and get a hold of us on the website. There's a place with all the numbers, and call any one of us, and we'll get the ball rolling.
Flights 60 and 61 coming up next weekend, May 17th, as you kick off your 13th year, and 8 more flights. So that is incredible. Barry Finnegan, we wish you all the success with the flights this year, and our thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Tom. Been a pleasure.